let's clarify what clarify Python indentation, right? Indentation in Python. So one thing that people, beginners or people who are learning Python try to struggles with a lot is the indentation. Okay, is when you get used to it, then it's easy to follow. But it's right to actually help beginners to actually understand how this thing is actually working. All right. So we are going to use analogies. I'm going to use as simple analogies as possible. Right. So over here, I have my VS Code open, and I have my file here. I created a file called main.py. Right. So that's what I open. So when I click back here, it's just closing that particular panel for me. So if I click it again, I can see all my files, and I click it again, I see all my panel. So now this is where I'll be running the code. Okay, this is where I'll be running my code, right, using the Python keyword. So I'll be calling this file and then it'll be running it. Okay, to show that this particular file can be run, let's just print something. Print hello Francis, right? So that's just an example statement. So let's go here and let's say Python the main.py. So that's the name of the file. So main.py. Okay, so when I click on enter, you see it runs, so it has printed the hello Francis for me. All right, so yeah, so let's clear this one. Now let's actually clarify what indentation is. So okay, so imagine the indentation as a room. Okay, so let me use this. Let me go down. So you imagine it as a room. Okay, oh no, first let me use let's say the entire code that you are writing is a hotel. Okay, it's a hotel or a house, a big house. Okay, and then inside the house or the hotel there will be so many things. There may be so many things: containers, rooms, houses, trees, and a lot of things inside the house. The entire house refers to your code in a file. Okay, now there are various components that come together to make the house. Then writing Python code, right? So things like that also happen. So the whole code contains a lot of things at once. But today we are going to focus on the indentation. So inside this hotel or the house, okay, let me call our house, we can have something like rooms. Okay, room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4, room 5. All right, so each room contains so many things at the same time. Okay, so contains so many things. Right? So some of the things that you can find outside of the rooms, you can find some of them inside the room and everything, right? So, and also you should also note that rooms can contain rooms. So rooms can contain other rooms as well. So if you look at some houses, a self-contained or chamber, a hall or something like that, a room that contains another room, and that room may contain other rooms if you go to the big houses. Okay, so we are going to see them as rooms like that, and each room in the house, right, we must find a way to be able to tell what items or components of the code belong to just that room. Okay, so there's the whole hotel or the whole house, and the whole house contains rooms. Okay, and the rooms contains other things. It may contain other rooms, it may contain other many things. So we need to find a way to identify that this particular item or this particular set of items is inside this particular room. And one way of handling that is identifying what the rooms are and knowing what components are inside that room. Okay, now in order to know what various these rooms things are, right, we use something called indentation. Okay, so you have the room, right, and then the room contains items. For you to identify something that is belonging to a particular room, you need to use indentation to be able to tell the Python reader or Python user that that particular set of code or set of item belong to just that room. So not everything in Python can be rooms. Not everything in the house is called a room. Of course, not everything in the house can be called a room. So what needs to happen is that there are some group of items or things in Python that are known to be like rooms. Once we see them, they automatically come with So since there are rooms, they may contain things. So if they are containing things, the way to identify that there's a room containing something is by using the indentation, right? So if you see this set of items or this set of concepts in the Python, you need to follow it. You need to be followed by an indentation. It will come automatically. Okay. And now, what are these items? So we are going to take them one after the other. Okay. So the first one is statement. Okay. Statement. These are the types of rooms, right? So let me say examples of rooms. Okay, that require the indentation. Okay. Now, if you see if statement, know that if statement is a room. Okay. You have a loop like for loop, while loop is also another room. Functions are also room. Class is another room. Open is, these are extra stuff, right? I will not go much on that. But know that if you see if statement, know that it's a room. Once it's a room, it needs to be followed by an indentation. Okay. If statement, loops, functions, classes, or on the basic level. Okay. Now we're going to take them one after the other and see how we can use them. All right. Okay. Let's say we want to have this print statement. I print hello Francis, right? So this is, you see that this thing is starting just at the start, right, of my line, the entire line. So this is one line, and then this print statement is showing starting at the start. I want to use an if statement. Okay. Let's say we have an age. Let me say age. Okay. Let's have a variable age is equal to, let's say 10. So I'll use an if statement. Okay. If age is greater than 18, right? So you see, this is an if statement and its conditions, right? I'm writing an if statement and then it comes with colon. After the colon, I go to the next line. The VS Code is set away that it's able to recognize, because I'm in a Python file, it's able to, when I go to the next line, it tells me that it creates the indentation automatically, because it has detected that this is a room. And whenever you have a room, you need to actually make sure that there is something in that room. Okay. If there's nothing in that room, you need to also indicate it. But if there should be something in that room, you need to do that. But there should be something that you should write after the room to make sure that it's a room, and every room requires something to be passed under it after an indentation. Okay. So if I write print you can vote. Okay. So what I'm saying is that if this age here is, I'll pass age 10, right? That's the value that we have right now. So I'll say if the age is greater than 18, right, I will say what? You can vote, right? So he's saying that, so you see, this is the room and this is the item inside this room. Okay, it's inside this room. Now let me go to the next line and go out of that particular indentation. Now I'm starting the next line here. So print end of code. Now see what's happening. This is the room that we say, because we have an if statement, you need to know that indentation needs to follow. Okay, indentation needs to follow immediately, because this is an if statement, and we say if statement is one of the rooms, and the rooms must come with indentation. They come up with indentation after your first indentation, right? If the next item is not part of that room, get out of it. So to get out of it means I get out of that particular indentation. Okay, so right now you see that for this particular print next one, I've actually gone to the start of the line. Okay, I could go back and put it under. So this one, this print here belongs to this room. So this is the room, right? And this is one item, one line. This line belongs to the room. This line also belongs to that room. Okay, but if I do something like this, you see that only this line belongs to this if statement, right? Because if something belongs to a particular room, you need to make sure that the rest of anything that belongs to it should follow that indentation till it's done. You need to make an indentation till it is done. If you go outside of that indentation, like cancel it or go back, then it means that you are actually leaving the room. So this particular, for at this point, only this one belongs to this, right? So I'm going to run this code. So So after I run the code, you see that the only line that shows is end of code. That's the only one that runs here, which is this is the only one that has run. Why? So you if statement, so the age is equal to 10. You're saying that if the age is greater than 18 before this thing will run. Okay, so this is the condition to be able to enter this room. Okay, to enter this room, that's what it's saying. Okay, so this one did not run because it is part of this room, and we have not met the condition to be able to enter this room. That's why this one did not run. Okay, so now let's go and then put this one also inside that room. Okay, so what over here now, this is the room, right? The door to the room, and these two are now part of it because they all follow the same indentation level, right, after the room. Okay, so now what happens is that when I go here, let me clear and then rerun this, you see nothing shows because these two actually belong to this room, and then the code was we are not able to enter this room because the condition, the room was not open. There's no way to open it. But when I take this one outside of it, if this one does not run, the code will continue to this one. That's what happened in the previous one. So let's go again. So end of code, you see that this one was able to run. Okay, because only this one belongs to this. Now let's take an age that is like 20, right, and rerun this code. So you say you can vote an end of code. So because this condition, age is greater than age is 20 and age is greater than 18, so that condition was met. So we are able to enter this room and we successfully run this particular line. Right. Then this one is not part of any room. So after this room is done, we go to the next line. So Python runs line by line, right? So this particular condition was met. So we are able to enter this room and run whatever is inside the room before we went outside the room. When we went outside the room, then we continue whatever is available outside. All right. So that's what happens with indentation. Okay. So whenever you see if statement, note that it's a room, and then you need to make sure that you pass something inside the room. If you don't have anything right now, right, just write pass. Just write pass, and then pass means that okay, this is a room, all right, but there's nothing inside right now, so just pass this room like there's nothing inside if you want to keep it empty. So we can click on clear and run this right now. The code will not return any error because we have recognized that it's a room, and every room requires what? An indentation. So we know an indentation, but right now we are not writing it inside. So this is an empty room actually. This is an empty room actually. All right. So yeah. So let's go to loops. The same thing can happen to loop if you are working with loops for how do you call it? Value in range. Let's say 3, right? Colon. You see there's colon, right? So we need to pass something because indentation is I say loops, which is while loop or for loop, they all require something like an indentation because they are all rooms and rooms must contain something. I'm going to do pass right now. Pass right now, and then let me comment this side. Yeah, I've commented that side. So now for value in range, right, we're going to let me print something. Print value. I'm just going to print the value, right? So let's clear and see what shows. Run the file. 012, right? It has run all the 3 of them. 012, right? Now let's put pass over there as well. If there's nothing we have right now inside, we just go ahead and then say that it's okay. So we run it and nothing, no issue. So whenever you see for loop, right, they requires an indentation. Okay. If you have if statement requires the same thing with functions. Functions are the basic one that we use every day, right? Def my function, right? Also colon, right? Pass. You can pass anything. Okay. So you see it requires an indentation if you don't pass an indentation. So you need to pass an indentation when you meet function. The same thing will apply to class. Okay. My function um pass. So we pass also the my function as well. So so let's say my class, right? So that it doesn't confuse us. For classes, whenever you see class as well, you see requires an indentation. All right. So we've opened and everything. Okay. As I said, functions can also contain what um a room can contain another room. Okay. So whenever you see loops, if statement and all that, note that they all require you that after them, immediately after them, anything that you have that should belong to that block of code or that particular room, put all of them in the room. So let's say value in range. No, let's go back to our if statement. Right, let me print this, and I want to print this age is good, right? If the person is better than 18, this person is eligible to maybe take the drink. Let's say we are selling a drink, and then say 18 plus years, right? Now that's it. Okay, that's what we have checked that the person has 18. Okay, after you've asked 18, we want to also ask if you have a disease. Okay, before we allow you to continue drinking it. So now you see we have this first room. Okay, and now inside this room I want to put another room inside this particular if statement. So if I want to do that, say if age, let me say, has disease, okay, sick equals to true. Okay, I can do true or false. If sick, so if the person is sick, right, what do I say? Print cannot take this drink. So no, let me not say drink, let's say pregnant, as if we are doing some reason, so that it makes sense. Pregnant. All right, so now if pregnant, we are saying that, so this is the first room, right? If age is 18, we are printing this. That's the first thing. But we are realizing that being 18 is not enough. We want to continue to proceed, meaning we are going to another room inside the original room. Okay, it's not going to be outside. Okay, we are not yet going outside. See that this if statement is also following this indentation, right? It's following this indentation because it's also a room that's in another room. So you need to respect the mother room's indentation. It has respected the mother room's. So this is the mother room, and everything inside must follow one indentation down. Okay, so this if new room also now has to be at that level. Now, but this new room is also a room. This is also a room. Each children or each element or content should also follow an indentation that is similar to it. Okay, that should be similar to this one. Okay, that should be following this one. Cannot take this drink. Print this consult the your doctor. Okay, we are printing two message. So you see that this particular if pregnant is another one if statement that is inside the mother if statement. So this mother if statement is having a indentation, so everything inside must follow that particular single line. Okay, you shouldn't violate, and none of them should violate it. But then there's another if statement inside it, and that if statement should also be, I told you it's a room, so whenever there's if statement, it also should also come with its own indentation. So now the focus should be on where is the room, and I need to allow indentation for just that room. You see it's allowing this side for this room, right? So the focus is not on the manner here for this guys. So these particular two statements are worried about this particular room, which is this if statement, and this if statement and this guy are worried about this particular if age is greater than 15. So the focus for every content should be on the mother room. Okay, their direct room. Okay, their direct room. So these guys following the indentation for just if statement, and If statement and these ones are also following the indentation principle for this particular matter if statement. So whenever you see if, this thing I'm showing here are using if statement alone, it applies to all of them, even for value, for loop, while loop, functions, classes, switch cases and everything. Okay, yeah, so that's how indentation works. So just know when to use indentation, and knowing when to use indentation really matters, and these are the various cases. Okay, now if I go ahead and say um print end of mother room, and then what reason I'm going out and say print end of code, a end of code. All right, so you see what's happening. We have so you can see that if you want to follow this thing, you can see that this particular if statement has all these things inside it. Okay, all right, so it has first has these two, and these two, like, and this if statement contains these guys. All right, you can see this print that I have here. Where do you think it, which if statement does it belong to? It doesn't belong to this one. No, anyone that is inside this one is following a particular indentation, which is these two. You see, they all have the same level of indentation, and they are following, they are inside, it's indicated that they belong to just this if statement. Okay, now if you have this one, if you look at this one, you see that it is at the same level as this if, the same level as this print. Okay, it is following an indentation not for this if statement but for this mother statement. Okay, it is trying to follow or maintain the indentation requirement, right, at the same level as these three. So it means that these three, this from here to here, they are all inside this particular if statement. All right, they are all inside this particular if statement. That's how if statements work. Okay, so I mean that's how indentation work. So these are the guys that you see, and you see what about this last line? This line is now is not following. That's it. It's at the same level as the mother if statement here, so it's not even inside. This guy is outside. It's not following that indentation thing, so it's even outside. It's even at the same level as this if statement, mother if statement that we have here. So this guy and this guy are the same level. They are the same level. So no one is embedded in the other. No, they are not. They are not. This guy and this guy at the same level, but the ones here, right, are inside this if statement, and this inner if statement contains these two which belong to them. And after that, let's focus on where is this one belonging to. So this one, this indentation is following this, and they all belong to this if age is greater than 18. Okay, but this last print is not even doing the indentation for any of these. It doesn't follow that. So this guy continue a new fresh line. So this is all one thing. So this is one room, right, from outside. If you go inside that room, you can see that there's another smaller room that contains its own items. Okay, so that's how indentation works. So indentation, you should recognize that indentation will go for if statements. Whenever you see loops, they also go. When you see functions, they also go. Whenever you see classes, they also go. And then with open and switch cases. So when we are solving more, you'll be able to understand. Yes. So going back to everything, the hotel, the house is everything in your file, in your code, right? But inside your file, there are so many items, so many items. But we have rooms in the house and everything, and or containers and everything. Okay, so in the room, the item that you can see as rooms in this particular code include for loops, loops, while loop and things, functions, classes, open statement, switch cases, right? They are all examples of rooms. So whenever you see them, you should know that they should all come with a indentation. When you don't have anything to put inside that one, just say pass. Okay, pass means like empty, leave it, continue, move on, like ignore it and move on, right? That's what the pass is for, right? It's something, I'll put something inside later, so pass it for now. That's what it means. Okay, but you have to get it in your mind that whenever you meet any of these, you need to do an indentation. Those are the cases or places where you will see indentation in Python. So if you're understanding this way and recognize things that require the indentation and how to embed them in one another, right, you'll be fine to actually not struggle with what indentation in Python actually does.